And we are live.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Project Podcast, the show about Project M and all of its happenings. I'm Bounty X Hunted. This is my fellow co-host, Dean Morrison, or Escalator Boy. And today we have a special guest known as Junbug. You may have heard of him. Just may have, if you're into PM.
I'm pretty good at Project M.
Yeah, you're sort of decent. Probably mid-tier.
Yeah, mid-tier. Number 5 on Smashboards right now.
Ooh, number five.
Those rankings are pretty inaccurate, but we'll take it. We'll take it.
I don't know. Juicy's higher up on my tier list. Sorry. He raps, so...
Oh, all right, I gotta start rapping. All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't have as much of a beard as usual.
Yeah, I decided to shave it, It comes and goes a lot. I just decided one day, get rid of it.
You just woke up,
yourself in the mirror, living in there.
Yeah, I had to get rid of all the stuff that was accumulating in there. So.
Nice. Well, thanks for being on.
Yeah, no problem.
What do we got on the agenda?
Anyway, so I guess we'll get started with news. So Team Curse and Team Liquid formed to become just one unit of Team Liquid. So that means that they brought over MacD, Chillin' Dude, and HBox to become Liquid guys. So that means they're on the same team of KDJ and Ken.
Yup.
Which means no more Energen combos. Rip.
Right. Chillin' and Ken together at last.
Yeah, Chillin' and Ken, I want to see them play doubles.
I do.
Yeah, they probably actually be a good doubles team. I mean, they're both really good at doubles.
Well, they've got a long
I've
history
seen
with
Ken.
doubles, right? So.
Yeah,
That's
that
the thing
makes
about the old
sense.
school Smash versus the new schools. There was more of an emphasis on the team game back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Than us. We all like singles.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. No more Energem combos. I heard Junebug tells me that it's all about Quest Nutrition.
Yeah.
That's right.
I guess Liquid, formerly Curse, Liquid has a new sponsor, Quest Nutrition. So whenever Chillin' lands a side B, he just yells, "Quest Nutrition!"
It doesn't quite
Quest-
roll off the tongue the same way.
Not good as Energems.
Right.
No. But Chillin's a joker. We all love him for it.
That's right.
Anyways, so Beast 5 happened last weekend.
Beast 5 was insane.
Project M tournament. One of the only Apex sponsored tournaments to show Project M. And
Yeah.
So if you watch those, pretty insane. Congratulations to the winner. We don't want to give out any spoilers because it's only been like a week.
It's true.
That's true. And you haven't seen him yet, so we don't want to...
I haven't seen them myself.
I do want to see the VODs. I saw a lot of threads go up. I don't know if they're on YouTube.
They're not. Yeah.
I don't think they're allowed to post them on YouTube.
Yeah, maybe not. But I did see they had
really?
VODs in the past broadcasts on the VG Bootcamp. I think it was VG Bootcamp 2 that the project was on. I can't be sure.
Right.
It's either
I know
VG
most
Bootcamp or VG Bootcamp 2.
It was on VG Bootcamp 2.
Yeah.
So I would be surprised if it was there.
Yeah, so check
I
them
saw
both, follow
Reddit
and
thread,
subscribe to
just-
them both because a lot of people miss what's going on VG Bootcamp 2. And a lot of times there's some really good stuff on there. So.
Anyway, so Muffin, he was there live. He said it was an interesting experience to play against top players in PM, such as like Mango, even though he's not a top PM player, but he's still a top player practically in Smash. And
Well, he's
Falco's
definitely
pretty
capable.
similar.
He was
Yeah,
playing
just
some
as
pretty
capable.
good Falco V5. I don't want to spoil anything, but man, really on
Yeah.
top of things.
so he said it was pretty interesting because Mango doesn't have that well of the brawl matchups, and he's a Wolf main, so that really handled him very well. But since Wolf is pretty similar to the other species, he's still lost because it's probably an easy matchup to be like, oh, so I can do X thing because this is different.
Yeah. With 3.5, there's more of a focus on the melee fundamentals, and I think that's why Mango would do well. You can get away with just having the fundamentals and not having the matchup knowledge, and top players
Right.
be able to navigate that a little bit better. And the thing about Mango is he can really tap into something mid-game. They call him the natural for a reason. He can pick things up real quick and mid-match, and 2 stocks in, he can take over. At longer sets especially, Mango's going to really take the game to you because he'll be able to figure you out and force his will on you.
West Coast play style.
That's
West
right.
Coast, yeah.
Yeah, controlling the pace of
West
play.
Coast is yeah.
So that
They're
happened.
also just controlling it. Yeah.
Anyway, so moving on, Paragon is actually this weekend,
Yeah, it's
and
on right now as we're
It's currently going on. Been a lot of hype sets.
Lots
I'm
of
actually
sets.
checking it out right
Yeah,
now.
I've
Yeah,
got it in
right.
the corner of my
We're
eye
all-
here. If you see me
we're all
looking in the
watching
corner.
it. We're all watching it as we're on the podcast. But
Yeah.
Project M is not being shown at Paragon.
No, it is being
Yeah,
played,
that's-
but not being shown.
And it just comes to a point where I feel like Nintendo is trying to cut the Project M out of the community, and it's really, really, really stupid.
Either that
Yeah.
or the Smash community at large is preemptively cutting us out. I mean, it's discouraging to see. We don't know whether or not Nintendo's involvement in this is direct. We don't know whether or not Alex Direct and the Apex team are, ordering these streams to be cut based on a suspicion that Nintendo is not going to like it, or if Nintendo is going to them directly and saying, "Hey, this is a qualifier for Apex. Don't show PN." But either way, Apex. We talked about this in episode 0 a little bit. The Apex brand has a lot of influence over the Smash community in general because of all these bigger tournaments are becoming Apex qualifiers now, and it's going to be part of this whole Apex circuit. And if that continues to be the case, then we're going to have to build our own scene. It can't be one unit anymore. Project M has to have its own identity a little bit, and that's a little disappointing. But we're going to have to adapt to whatever it is.
Hashtag adapt.
Hashtag adapt.
Let's bring it back.
That's right.
Nintendo has already had like a strange policy with its IPs, and that's disappointing to see because Project M is a great game, and if another company like Valve would definitely take advantage of an opportunity like this, hire the developers, get this game on the market, but Nintendo seems to want to play this shadow government role, not really cease and desisting them, but kind of manipulating behind the scenes where you're not allowing you to play this.
Yeah.
And
I kind of wish
Nintendo hasn't had the.
I kind of wish Nintendo was doing better with their Wii U sales, because then maybe they might think about something like that. But as long as Project M's on the market and you only need a Wii to play it, then they're not going to be selling Wii U's if it's in direct competition to Smash Bros. For Wii U. So it puts Nintendo in a difficult position, it puts Apex in a difficult position, and puts us in a difficult position, and nobody wants to be here. But we're here, and we have to adapt, and this is a strong game, so I'm not too worried about that. And it's a strong community, and we have a lot of passionate players. Yourself among them, Junbug.
I wouldn't say
to rep the
passionate.
game.
He doesn't rap. He doesn't rap. He's not that passionate. But I like since they've announced what's going to be at Apex for Nintendo, they're showing off Splatoons and stuff like that. It's basically become a marketing gig for them. So I'm like, they're not really doing it for the love of the community. They're not really doing it. They're just doing it for money. And I just wish that they would become like Capcom or, like you said, Valve, and just start supporting these things that can generate you money if you can start loving the community instead of sucking the community dry.
Yeah, I mean, we still don't know entirely what Nintendo's involvement with Apex is going to be, and it's a little bit weird to me now that the entrant cap has already been hit. We can't get any more players out to this thing. There's no more marketing to be done as far as the attendance of this tournament. So all of what Nintendo has to offer better have to do with, I don't know, I don't know what it can be at this point. They're not going to entice any more players out with their whatever bonuses and whatnot that they have. It's tough to see. I don't know what to think of it all. I guess we won't until Apex finally hits. I'm sure the pop bonus is going to be big, but
they've already announced pop bonuses.
Yeah, but we've never, this is a Smash community. We've never really been in it for the money. People have been traveling across the country for years for like a couple $100 if they win, and that's not even a guarantee.
Which is why
King and Mango have made money off this game.
Which is why when when sponsors for like big sponsors like Liquid and EG and Curse and then were announced for these big players, it was really exciting because those are the companies that can get them to these events and make sure that they're not spending as much money with traveling and more focusing on playing the game.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what we have to adapt to. Any TOs out there that are interested in pushing it all forward, I'm all for it.
Shout out to Pooch. He's planning a Project M national right now.
Yep.
Shout outs to ES, I think. They're planning a Project M national in Pennsylvania.
Nice.
Easton Smash. Shots Fired, I think the national's called. It's where MDVA is going to crew battle NJNY, I mentioned earlier. So that'll be hype.
Nice.
That's the next big PM tournament I'm attending. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of love in the community. And the thing I love about PM, it's a game for the community, by the community. It's constantly changing, in terms of balance and stuff. And it's probably my favorite Smash game.
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess that's all for news, really, that's happened the past week. I guess we can move on to our main discussion topic. Let's talk about 3.5.
Yeah.
So let's start with first impressions. How did we feel about the game?
So 3.5, it adjusted a lot of the complaints with that people had with 3.0. People saying recoveries were too good. So everybody's recoveries got huge nerfs, except like Spacey's. I think recoveries ported from Melee because it wasn't, the angles weren't exact or something like that. So they got a slight buff in that regard. But in general, everybody's recoveries got nerfed, which indirectly buffed a lot of characters that depended on edge guarding, and really opened up the meta.
I also felt like occasionally when I would play the game, I felt like the game was a bit
characters.
I also, like, when I was playing the game, I felt like the game was a bit janky occasionally, and the way they did the shield stuff and they messed with animations, it makes the game feel a lot smoother compared to, like, Melee, because earlier, when you would watch Melee and then you would watch PM, it felt weird because Melee was clearly the smoother game.
Yeah,
but now you can like sit them side by side and you wouldn't have a problem.
Yeah,
I think the shield stun is actually the
you're starting to cut out a bit, Jim.
in Melee. So that's, dang it! All right. Yeah, I was just saying that the shield stun is the same from Melee and PM now, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And overall, with all the changes that they made with recoveries and with the engine, everything sort of feels and plays out a lot more like Melee did. Watching the Beast 5 Project M steps, it was very, it was very much like watching a game of Melee. It was actually a bit easier to follow, I found. It wasn't as... that's one thing I remember from watching, like, to the tail end of 3.02, right around the Big House 4. A lot of those sets, it was kind of difficult to follow what was going on stage, and would have been a lot harder to commentate, I would have thought. It wasn't as much of a mental game going on, I thought.
So, like, in the middle of 3.0, did you ever get to this point where it was super boring to watch Project M on, like, live streams? Because I felt, I don't know, it was just really boring to watch. But then later in the life, when it was, like, low-tier city, it became hype again because people started to, like, the meta started to develop. Yeah. So
yeah.
And then 3.5, I hope it'll be much better because of all these engine changes.
Well, everything I've been watching, on the Turn the Locator stream on Xanadu, I've seen you on there a lot, June, is, it's been a lot of fun to watch.
Notice me, senpai.
No, it was a lot of fun to watch. Like, I don't know, watching a good ledge game. I mean, I love, I'm a big Mewtwo King fan, at least as far as his play style goes. He came to town once and four-stocked me several times. It was hard.
Yeah.
And just watching a good ledge game is like nothing else, And it's nice to see that make a return.
They also have wedding proposals at Xanadu, so
yes, they do.
That was actually my crewmate proposing to his girlfriend. We're really happy for him. Yeah, the Tantalus VGBC, and they don't let him put VGs in his sponsored title stuff. Oh. So shout outs to the Tyrant Gimmer, not letting.
That's funny. If you watched any of AGDQ, I was watching both AGDQ and BG Bootcamp at the same time, and I saw 2 live marriage proposals
Yeah, I heard about
on
that.
Twitch in the same day.
That's
It was
crazy.
Who was commentating during that proposal?
I think it was
and E.
Phil and TK.
It
Yeah.
was because whoever that other guy was, he was hilarious. I thought he was so funny. He was like, "Oh, my man's getting married," and I was like, "Oh my god, he's got a family, family high."
At the phenomenal EE, if you want to follow E.
Mm.
He's the
That man
premier
brings the
Xanadu
hype.
commentator. Yeah, he's one of the best commentators we got there. Really funny guy, really chill. Also a crewmate of mine. So, yeah.
Awesome. So,
That's general comments 3.5.
so that's
Yeah.
generally our feels and opinions on
At
3.5.
least
So
as
let's
far as how the game plays.
move on to characters.
Yeah.
Who do we want to talk about first? Gandalf.
Yeah, let's talk about Ganondorf. I guess we should first talk about, like, characters getting nerfed and then the community
Okay.
kind of taking that the wrong way.
Yeah.
Not, the top 4 in 3.0, Pit, Lucas, Diddy, Mewtwo, they obviously got nerfed, and it was well needed. But some other characters got nerfed for, balance issues.
Mhm.
And, mains of those characters, kind of reacted the wrong way. Oh, I hate PM now. Like, I can't play the way I used to. It's all just part of the process, trying to get the most balanced Smash game. And just because your character is not placing top 8 or like top 4 at national doesn't mean he doesn't have tools that can be reduced in some senses. So I think nerfs are something the community has to deal with better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's something that the Smash community hasn't really had experience with in the past because there hasn't been balanced patches to Melee especially. I mean, we forget sometimes that this was originally Project Melee, right? This came out of the love child out of Melee, and a lot of the players that came around from that background, they're used to having to adapt to everything. They're not used to all these nerfs and patches and everything else, and they don't realize that in a way, as an entire community, we're kind of beta testing this game. And we should take a little pride in that. We should take a little pride in saying, I'm the one that broke this character and made it necessary to nerf it, right? I mean,
I broke Diddy Kong.
yeah. I give all the props in the world to you for that, and to Emu King Willer for breaking Mewtwo, and all the Ivysaur players that were destroying
Zero
people with
for
Ivysaur
Pit.
in 2.6B. So.
Wizzy.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean I've seen players bounce back, and we have an Ivysaur player who's really good, Zigzagoon, here in Alberta, in Calgary, and he was winning tournaments of left and right.
Wait,
left, right,
he doesn't
and
play
center.
Zigzagoon?
Yeah, yeah, he was playing left, right, and center with Ivysaur and just whooping everybody, and then the patches sort of came out, and yeah, he was salty. He was salty about it for sure, but he still came out and won his fair share of matches with that. So. I think he's mostly playing Smash 4 now. I wish he'd come back. Or maybe he never left anyway. Maybe he's still playing PM, but I'll have to see with him.
It's sad that the balance patch that kind of turned people away from PM, well, I think it shouldn't have, as we discussed earlier, came out at the same time as Smash 4, this new shiny game. It looks really nice.
I think it was Smash 4. It was like, why should I have to relearn everything that I've done when I can just play something that feels brand new?
Right.
Yeah. And the difference in this case is, Sakurai's already come out and said, there's not going to be any more balance patches to Smash 4. People
That's
are saying,
so bad.
People are saying, what?
Why?
Yeah, why? And
I don't know if you guys have been
with the competitive
watching.
scene,
Sorry.
it's been a lot. Yeah, I mean, I don't know
I
much
am.
about Smash 4 yet, so speaking out of ignorance, but I have seen a lot of Diddy Kong, and
Yeah,
maybe it's
definitely.
maybe it's too early to say whether or not that character is a little too high tier for his own good, or for the game's own good, but that's the strength of PN is we can take these overpowered characters and make it a little bit more balanced, and that's the one thing I see about Project M 3.5 that's a little, I guess, better is in 3.5 over 3.02 is we're not complaining about overpowered characters anymore. I see a lot of complaints on Reddit about characters that are underpowered. People are talking about Olimar, they're talking about Ivysaur, not really Ivysaur, but Former Ivysaur players are saying, you can't play them the same way they used to. But I haven't seen a lot of people complaining about overpowered characters this time around, and I don't know why that is. Except Fox. I hear people say Fox.
Yeah, there have been a few complaints about melee characters.
Yes.
And I feel like the reason that is because players never learned these melee matchups that were so important.
Mm-hmm.
And partly because their characters were so good in PM, they didn't have to, deal with some of the stuff that the matchups would throw at them. And now they have to learn them, and they're realizing how good these characters are. So hopefully we can see more players learn how to deal with, the Fox, the Sheik, the Peach, the Falco, these classic old school melee matchups that are still relevant in PM.
Yeah, and the reason they're doing well in this patch is that the game itself and the engine and all the other characters around them is better suited to the melee environment, right? Like, Sheik had a lot of trouble in 3.02 because of that reliance on the gimping game, and that didn't really exist in 3.02 because the recoveries were so broken for so many different characters. And now you can sort of play Sheik the same way you used to. And, Sheik's doing well, Martha's doing well, Fox is doing really well, and Falco.
Jigs, yeah.
Jigs and Falco, they're doing well, and there's no reason why they shouldn't, because they're good characters. They were designed really well in Melee. That's why people played them in Melee. And that's why even in 3.5, you're still seeing players bust out the Pit, they're busting out the Mario. You're seeing all these good characters start to come out of the woodwork. Roy, you see a lot of Roy play down in the South. And
Sethlon, man.
Yeah, and the more players experiment with these characters, and the longer 3.5 is out without any significant balance changes, the more we're going to see the metagame develop. And this time around, it seems like they've got it really, really close to where they want the game to end up settling in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's for the good of the game. And I think
definitely
people who are salty about their characters need to sort of keep that in mind, and that this game was not finished when they learned their characters. And I don't think any of it was time wasted. Would you say it's time wasted, Junebug?
Definitely not. I still, a lot of the stuff I learned in 3.02 is still relevant. I don't have a second banana. I don't have a Diddy up throw and side.
If you went up to
Jake, but
if you went up against another Diddy Kong player and you were playing 3.5 Diddy and the other guy was playing 3.02 Diddy, do you think you'd have a chance?
Oh yeah, because I know that character.
There you go. Jones, right?
It would definitely be harder. Hashtag adapt, yeah.
Anyway, so I guess we can move on to our first character we can discuss for 3.5. So let's talk about Ganondorf.
So Ganondorf, my personal favorite character to play. He got the huge buff in the float and a semi buff in the reflect. It's not as useful as the reflect. I think there's a 3-frame window to land that.
Mm-hmm.
But he has more movement options because of the float and waveland. His new back air is just so good.
So good. Ugh, the animation. Ugh.
And he's still a solid character, gets follow-ups out of down throw and side B really well. He's slow, as Ganon always has been, but that still doesn't mean he can pack a punch whenever he gets a hit. He's more about, outspacing your opponent.
How do you feel about the float?
The float, using it like you would a Peach float isn't really as applicable because you descend as the float occurs, so you have to kind of mix it up, use it as a recovery thing, or like B-reverse floats, which becomes a really good movement option. But
I was using it really in a way that's like before you would have to almost sort of double jump into a forward air to get the right timing down, and it would throw off your opponent, but now you don't have to lose your jump. You can jump, float, forward air, and get the same timing without having to expend that second jump or go too high.
So Alright, I gotta take notes.
It's a nice little mix-up. You're taking notes.
Yeah.
So I like I said earlier, I feel like Ganondorf was just fine without the float, but he is better with the float. But even if he didn't have it, he would have been just
fine. It helps his
fine.
recovery game too. I think that was one of the big problems with Ganondorf in 3.02 was he was already pretty slow. He was by nature of the fact that all the other characters were so much better. You had this Ganon who might have been slightly better than Melee Ganon was as far as tier list goes, but he was pretty low down just because he had so many weaknesses compared to the rest of the cast, and I feel like that's balanced out a little bit by his buffs in a way that doesn't overpower him. And like you were saying with that the reflect, it kind of works out in a way that makes it sort of not very useful. It's a pretty weak move, but when it's used in the right context, even the weakest move can be really good. So it's kind of like a mid-air power shield in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I definitely need to do some more experimenting with that move, because I mean it would be a better option than power shielding, because power shielding is frame 1, or is it frame 2 or something?
It's a little bit easier in PM because of the way the shields work, but I don't know.
Right.
I think it's like a 3-frame window.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's the same.
Well, it's
I gotta check.
3-frame window with the 1-frame buffer, right?
Yeah.
Which makes it a bit
okay. So reflect might be harder to land than power shield.
Yeah, it might be, but
Right.
it could be really useful in midair.
Right. Yeah.
Say a charge
Against
shot comes
characters,
at you, what are you going to do in mid float, right?
Mhm.
You can't air dodge really without being punished for it. So if you throw the reflect out, you might do something well.
You level 9 Ganon.
That's right.
It's side B up.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough move
stage.
to land. It's going to be a tough move to use and not have issues getting punished for it with. So it's going to be one of those things you're going to see, and it's going to blow people's minds on streams, and that's what you want out of the weakest moves in your arsenal.
Yeah.
Okay, so verdict on Ganondorf, still the great character that he's always been.
Still a good character. I think he's better in this version.
Still
I don't want to say
experiment
top
with
15.
the what's it? The float.
The float, yeah.
Yeah, still wonderful, still viable. So who else should we move on to? Who should be our next character?
I kind of talked about Diddy. I could talk about him a bit more. So the main nerfs to Diddy obviously is very good in 3.02, along with the 3 other characters I mentioned. Throw, it's no longer a kill move. They took away one of his bananas. They nerfed his side B. It's not always a guaranteed follow-up. At higher percents, I lose the follow-up ability of the side B. And yes, side B also, like, if you use it too low in the air, you'll just kind of like descend with it, so it's hard to side B and then up B to the ledge like you could in 3.02. Also, when you up B, you slowly descend, so it's harder to recover from the bottom of the blast zone like you could in 3.02. And when you hit the side B or the up B, my bad, the barrel won't come off and punish you for trying to edge guard, which was so a few major nerfs, and also this fair got nerfed. But overall, his kit's still very good. All of his aerials still very fast, and I still think he's a solid character.
Yeah, so all those Diddy Kong players out there being salty about the changes, don't be salty. This is the
hashtag adapt.
Hashtag adapt, and this is like the #1 Diddy Kong player, and he's still good.
That's right.
He's really good.
He's still
and the game is better for it, right? Like
yeah. And I feel like Diddy Kong's recovery nerf was granted, because it's like you could recover from anything, no matter which way you died.
Yeah.
It really changed the game when like the best characters didn't have to deal with recovering. It just kind of got the free. And in Diddy Kong's case, he could actually punish you for trying to punish it.
Yeah,
so it's best to just respect the up B.
And that's why Diddy Kong matchups weren't that 3.0, because it's like nothing exciting is going to come out of it except for maybe a Diddy Kong win. That's it.
One of the few characters that could actually edgeguard Diddy Kong was Sonic, because you just let him recover on the stage, and since Sonic is so fast, he just dashes up and gets that punish.
Oh yeah.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, it's funny when people are complaining about their characters being nerfed and then deciding to either quit the game or move on to a different character. It's like, do you want to play a better character or do you want to play a better game? I choose better game every single time.
Yeah.
So.
And a lot of the nerfs, they're not that bad. Like, honestly, stop complaining.
There's only like 2 nerfs that are like, really? PMDT? Really?
Yeah.
And most of them are on a specific character.
Yeah. So
wait, what nerfs are you talking about?
I'm talking about pit nerfs.
Let's talk about pit
right,
nerfs.
yeah.
Like, I guess this is a good leeway to Pit. Pit is like a shadow of his former self.
Yeah,
At least so
definitely
far.
got over nerfed.
A bit over nerfed, or like we said earlier today, his playstyle was maybe changed by the developers.
He could set up that fair wall really well in 3.02, and then down tilt and dash dance into down throw. Now his down tilt's nerfed, his down throw is nerfed, his arrows are nerfed. I think his glide got nerfed too. It has like a bit of startup now.
Most
But,
of his kit is just got nerfed,
Yeah.
and it just I feel like this is just a bit too far. Like I knew in 3.0 that they needed to change up Pit because he was just a bit too safe, right? And what they needed
His combo game was insane, and his
he had
edge guarding.
this ability to juggle you off stage, either left, right, up, or down, depending on, and it didn't matter where Pit was on stage, because you could just
It
hit
was
the arrows
ridiculous.
and do the chain grabs, and it was just it was a little bit too hard to get in on Pit. And I think watching Armada's Pit at Beast 5 was telling, because he was playing mostly Fox throughout the tournament, and he tried out his Pit, and it just didn't really work on the spacies like it used to. And maybe it's because he hasn't really adapted to it yet, and he has to change around the way he's playing. But it's tough to say. I mean, we don't really know. I would like to see what Zero could do with this Pit, honestly. But
Well,
he has kind of a track record of playing only top tier characters, and whatever the perception is, he'll play that. No offense to Zero, I mean, he plays to win, but that's the thing with.
Hey,
with
that's
Pit.
AMSA. You can't be copying AMSA.
Yeah.
I pray to.
Yeah. No, I don't know much about Pit yet. I mean, we haven't. I don't play Pit. He's not my style of character at all. So I haven't really had a lot of experimentation with him. And it might take a while before we find a really top tier 3.5 Pit, because there's so many characters in this game, and
which is another good thing why we're making this podcast, is because this way we can expose that maybe this Pit is already found and we just don't know about it.
Yeah.
And maybe we just need to expose this player and say, hey, he's figured it out. He knows how to play new Pit.
Yeah, we want to see it from every community in the scene. We want to see challenge brackets. We want to see streams. We want to see YouTubes. We want to showcase them on this stream until we can find these people and really show what people can do. Because this is a game where you have an infinite amount of creativity, with so many different characters and so many viable characters for tournament that you can potentially do it with anybody. So yeah, it definitely seems like Pit is completely different in 3.5 than he was in 3.02, which is a bit unfortunate. I do feel like there's some of that metagame that should still be used. It's tough to say how exactly you're going to have to adapt to play that character now.
It's really odd how much they nerfed him, because I knew that like a little bit of nerfs was required for Pit, but I was not expecting for them to go this overboard for it.
Yeah, you sometimes you wonder, what were they thinking with these nerfs? Like, obviously we can't, peer into the PMDT and ask them for like their development notes. But
there was a lot of testing that went into it, especially in the debug mode, which we haven't gone over. But with having the debug mode as a tool, maybe made them rethink all of these characters in ways that they hadn't anticipated, because of the way the hitboxes are thrown out and the way the specific matchups between specific characters. Maybe it just seems like Pit is a little bit worse because of which characters Pit has normally been playing against. You used to kind of pick Pit against Spacies because of that chain grab. Maybe it's not the same way anymore. Maybe Pit's got strengths against other characters in the cast, and he's maybe more of a utility character against other areas of the squad. It's tough to say. I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt for now.
He still has good aerials, a pretty good recovery. I'm pretty sure while his neutral game, or his options in neutral, aren't as strong, he still can be a combo monster if you get the hit. We just haven't seen that new Pit break out.
It's
so
like early Wolf, because except you probably can't kill as hard as you could, but you could probably just need to win in the neutral, and you probably will win the game.
And Pit doesn't have an Energems or a Quest Nutrition combo. So.
And a Quest Nutrition combo. So verdict on Pit. We need new players. Maybe we
need
just
new players, but the nerfs were hard.
Yeah,
the nerfs were hard on Pit. But Mewtwo?
Mewtwo? We want to talk about Mewtwo next?
Let's talk
Yeah.
Mewtwo. I feel like people are less salty about Mewtwo. I've seen more, Emu Killer is still playing Mewtwo. Pretty sure Mewtwo King is still playing some Mewtwo out there somewhere.
Mewtwo King actually has a horrible opinion on Mewtwo because he lost once to a Falcon on FD.
No, it's
And all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, Mewtwo's the worst character in the game." LOL M2K.
like,
yeah.
oh.
I watched that match. It was him versus Gatsu at KTAR 11. Mewtwo King proceeded to only jump cancel grab for about 2 minutes.
Oh, no.
And then Gatsu would just punish him for it. And then after the match, he's like, "Mewtwo's the worst." It's like, "No, Jason, you were just playing like an idiot." Like,
Yeah. Mewtwo's nerfs were perfectly fine. He's like, he's still a great character. I mean, 3.0 Mewtwo, problems with it is that he was a trifecta of a perfect character. He could stage combo, he could do aerial combos, he could edge guard, he could do all
always
that.
had an option to escape whatever punishment was coming his way. That's
Yeah,
the thing
he had so many options.
Yeah.
And that's what the nerfs are perfect for, because you can't float and teleport at the same time. You can't double jump and teleport, or else it'll be like melee. Or you can still double jump and hover, but it weakens his combo game. It weakens his edge guard is still amazing.
Yeah.
But
you can always cover the high option because of the floatiness of Mewtwo.
he can still cover options, he can still combo. It's just that some things are a bit different.
Yeah, he's a little bit weaker now. If you can get a hold of him, you can punish him Mewtwo pretty hard. You can chain grab him with Sheik. You can do, it's hard for a Mewtwo to get out of punishment now, which is good. I think he's still kind of a good sort of zoning character. His tail isn't as long, but you can still sort of do the back air thing and control a lot of space with Mewtwo and make it really difficult for a player that's on the defensive, right? But he has a little bit more trouble defending himself.
He can't do the plink on the ledge anymore, the infinite ledge.
Whoop, whoop, whoop,
whoop, whoop, whoop. Can't do that anymore. His down tilt's actually faster, so down tilt into float cancel, up air, and forward air is a really good option for Mewtwo. Just controls so much space, and it's really fast. Smash God does it a lot. Emu Killer's been starting to do it, and another character that needs to have his meta explored. People that are abusing the teleport obviously going to have a harder time now, but the character's still good in my opinion.
Yeah, really interesting.
He loses to sword characters though, and
we
Falcon.
forget too that this is the first time Mewtwo's been balanced. He came out in 3.0, didn't he?
Yeah.
So that's it's pretty impressive to see only a few nerfs on him. I mean, I guess it was a significant amount of nerfs, but the character still plays and feels the same way that he did in a lot of ways. And I feel the same way about Diddy Kong. Watching a lot of Diddy Kong play, there's not as much. You can still play the character and play it with the same sort of fundamentals that you used to. And it's just not quite as janky as it was.
Yeah. It's harder to wall him out with one banana.
Yeah.
You can still get some setups.
You don't have that one perfect option to escape to when things are going wrong.
Two perfect options.
Well, yeah.
We call that the Marvel assists.
Yeah. And you can say that way about a lot of the cast. Is you could take away, that one big option that you could always go to when your back is against the wall and to win, and then spam that until you take all their stocks. That was kind of the way the metagame of 3.02 was starting to look by the end, and that's why a lot of these changes were necessary.
So who should we talk about next?
Lucas.
Lucas.
I know.
I think the recovery change alone was quite enough for Lucas. I mean, there was a lot of changes made to him.
I feel like the down B change on shield, perfect change.
Yeah,
that's true.
There has a bit of lag now, so you can't just infinite magnet on somebody's shield like Shine. So it's a bit more precise. I've seen Lucas's do really well. Shoutouts to Hyperflame. Marcus, aka Pink Fresh, not doing so hot, probably because he hasn't practiced with these new changes, but I think he'll start to do well too. And overall, I think Lucas is still a solid character. It's just his recovery was nerfed, and his on-stage combo game not as strong.
I don't know why the Lucas mains were crying so much. I mean, your character is not completely destroyed. Your character is is just a bit changed. You're just fine. You just need to think about when the opponent goes on shield. You got to think about your options.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think about how you're recovering now. It just adds more depth to what you're doing with your character instead of just going tunnel vision onto your opponent.
Yeah, I hardly see Lucas's making use of that double jump canceled aerials, and they're really fast. They can be double jump canceled forward air on shield, into a down B, into a jab, or even up air or down air on shield. It's just so fast. Back air is so much shield stun. It's ridiculous. All of Lucas's aerials are really strong. Nair as well. Nair can be crouch canceled, but still a pretty strong multi-hit move. Kind of like Mewtwo Nair in that sense. But yeah, he's still strong. I don't know why people are complaining.
It's like there are multiple nerfs in here that are like, you're fine, but it's just an overreaction.
They're just worse. They're not bad.
Yeah,
It's
every
just
complaint about all of these characters sort of needs to be measured against the overall strength of the game. I mean, that's I think, you know, people get salty, and I understand, and it kind of hurts to put a lot of work into a character only to see all that work not pay off for you in the end. But, you know,
Yeah.
like I said, you want to play a better game, not necessarily a better character. And if you're playing, you know, a character, or if you're playing a game where the character balance is, you know, balanced, which is the goal, and maybe that's a really quite a lofty goal. Maybe it's going to take a lot of patches to get it exactly where we want it, but it keeps getting closer and closer every time. And this time around, it definitely seems really close. Like, there's a lot of characters that are viable, and very few that just get wrecked by the top tier.
Yeah.
There's a lot more decisions you can make in a game now. You know, you see this. You know, there's a lot of low tier heroes in Melee that you see. You know, Amsa and Axe, and sometimes they just run out of options. You know, it's not that they're playing bad. Sometimes they're just playing against a character and playing against somebody who's just exploiting all the character's weaknesses, and that's not quite as difficult in this game. You know, the lowest character we have in Project M, you know, still has a ton of good options, and it makes it possible for anybody to win.
If you look at like Marvel versus Capcom tier lists, it's not based on who's better than who. It's based on, like, usually it's based on like utility, damage, speed, and whatever else. And they have to put it on like what's it called? I forget what the graph's called. I feel like it's like for crossway chart, and they have to place it in that way. So then it's not necessarily a tier list. It's necessarily a play style. Like, what play style do you want your team to have? And I feel like Project M is moving towards that point, because there was this post on r/SSBPM that showed the play style of each character, and are they grapple, are they zoner, are they stuff. So I think that Project M is going to slowly come to that point where we have to start putting them on these charts and say, these are the play styles. There's nobody that's necessarily better than X person, but these are the play styles of the characters.
And this is all without ever having to drop those solid Smash fundamentals that you have to build up when you're playing the game.
Melee fundamentals, Smash fundamentals, they're really key in Project M, especially since it's a mix between Melee physics and, you know, some of the things that are in Brawl, like B reverses and glide tossing. So Smash fundamentals really crucial.
Yeah.
Any other characters?
Wolf? Did we talk about Wolf?
Wolf, he's in his perfect state right now. Perfect.
Yeah, I really like New Wolf.
New Wolf, like, his Nair comes out quicker, which helps his neutral game not too much, but just a tiny bit. And then his Blaster, much faster, helps his neutral game. It's like a godsend for his neutral game. And yeah, right now, if they didn't change anything about Wolf from this point on, I wouldn't mind, because he's literally perfect right now.
Yeah, I think
he plays really well. I'm pretty sure Chillin enjoys it too.
Yeah, I don't think you're off the mark there. Wolf is a really, really cool character, really well designed. I feel the same way about quite a few characters in this game. I really love the design of Mario on the whole. I think Mario's doing really good. I think the nerfs to Mario were really nice, so, you know, a little bit more lag on the pills. That really helps.
Yeah.
You know, his recovery, of course, isn't quite as dominant as it used to be.
They just needed to put more thinking into Mario's kit.
Yeah, and it wasn't much.
Yeah.
I mean, Mario was already really, really close. I mean, ever since 2.6, I think Mario always felt really, really nice. I remember watching the grand finals of Big House 3. It was Mario versus Bowser. It was awesome. It was a great match too. And just the design of Mario, it works a little bit better. He's a little bit more. You can be a bit more creative with him now. You don't have to rely on those auto combos that people were complaining about. And it gives you an opportunity to be a bit more inventive with Mario and play a little bit differently. Yeah, and you can still do that. You can still camp with Mario's builds, but it's not as easy. You do have to play the game, right?
Yeah.
You got to play on stage a little bit. That's
who
what I
else
like
do we
about
want to talk about?
Changes in general is the on-stage game is just made so much more effective by the fact that you can't just retreat to the ledge as often without getting punished for it.
Right. Also, that 5 ledge grab thing, really important. No more choo-dadding.
Yeah,
no more just
play
king
but
on
that's
the
sort of
ledge.
the Mewtwo King Emu Killer Chewdat rule. Is you can't do that anymore.
If you abuse it, you lose it. Thanks, guys.
Ruining it for all of us.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't agree with that change at first. I thought it was just a little bit too big of a change. But when I think about it, if you're trying to throw someone off by Shino stalling a few times, you don't want to be doing it 7 or 8 times in a row. You have the opportunity to mix up your recovery game before you ever get to that point. I've never spent that much time on the ledge before.
I haven't either, unless I'm trying to troll.
Yeah, and even then, you can always just sort of wave dash back on stage, and then back to the ledge if you really want to abuse that. You can still do that, but it's going to give your opponent opportunities to punish you now.
I feel like a lot of people, at least I think Chudat told me he uses that time on the ledge to think of strategies. Which is,
then when the opponent walks up, he's like, "Oh, they walked up to me."
Yeah, and then he just opens his mouth. And
everyone hated Chudat for that, but you know what? Shout out to Chudat. He exploited. He found the exploit in the game that we needed to patch, right? So
and literally the only good Kirby,
remember,
at least the only good Kirby that we know of.
The good character that would have been right. I heard that is pretty good, but no other big Kirby's going to tournaments, stuff like that.
Remember. If you can swallow, but can you chew that?
Oh God, no!
Why was that a shirt?
He wears that shirt. I had to say it.
Yeah.
He has a shirt that says it.
Oh my God!
It had to happen.
Yeah, true that.
Anybody else we need to talk about?
I think.
I feel like Samus. I'm just saying Samus because I'm watching.
I think a lot of the changes that we've been talking about are more or less universal to the cast, like a lot of the same changes were made to do the same things to a lot of these
There was a really important change that happened to Zero Suit Samus. She doesn't have the really long grab anymore. She has a normal grab.
Yeah.
Which,
I like that a lot.
Because you used to be able to jump cancel grab people, and it would and if you missed, you'd be done for because it's I don't know how many frames. It's super long. But now she has a normal grab, which it helps her game so much better.
Yeah. And she did get a nerf in the you can't dash cancel or blaster anymore.
Oh yeah.
So that was a really good approach option in 3.02. I didn't play too many Zero Suits, but I played Ripple at Big House, and he was bodying my Diddy with Zero Suit. I was like, how do I deal with this character?
Yeah. And a lot of people
that was a really good
option too. But I think the recovery changes helped Zero Suit Samus a lot. I think she has a lot.
They changed at the startup though to they nerfed dash canceling, but then they reduced the amount of startup frames the move has.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that
still viable, but you can't use it as a kind of approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should read the patch notes more often. I learned so much stuff.
So much.
I should. Let me pull this up.
Yeah, and then the Dacuses.
See, look, to combo into the second hit, but can be crouch canceled. I already know something that I can crouch cancel now.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
So yeah, if you're curious and you want to experiment with some of the changes, go to that changelog. It'll help you out.
It helps your game. No joke.
This is
Anything
something we
else?
don't get the benefit of in other Smash
Oh.
games. We have a changelog. We have all this frame data already available to us. We don't need Mewtwo King and Super. And yeah,
Let's talk about debug mode.
let's talk.
Oh, yeah.
about mode.
Debug mode is my favorite feature of 3.5. Best thing, because I recently got a 60-inch CRT like a week and a half ago, and turning on debug mode is like the best thing ever, because it's so easy to see how long something is out, how big is something, how long somebody's in hit stun, how long can I follow up for, and how many options do you have. It just makes it easier to see everything about the game.
Yeah.
It's really useful. I mean, especially if you're a lab monster, you get to see all your hit stud, all your it helps for those Energems combos.
It does
Really.
ridiculous amounts, because you can see the hit stun, and then you go in for that back throw. You see the hit stun, and you know, oh, they're at that angle. Are they still in hit stun? I can still go in for it.
And then you press the taunt button right afterwards, and you're solid.
Yeah. Yeah, debug mode. It's wonderful. One of our members on the Project M podcast crew, he recently made a Squirtle guide using the debug menu. He showed every exact frame you could do shell cancels and stuff like that using the debug mode. So
Yeah, it's great as a tutorial tool. Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, go watch his video. I think it's on his channel. Just search up Daft at DAFTATT, and it's right there, and it's so good. But anyway, any other characters we want to talk about?
We covered the main four. We covered Mario. Zelda?
Zelda's an interesting change.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with it, really. I thought the side B was fine in the last version. I thought it added a lot to her trap playstyle. You know, a really tricky character. Also, you could clank with the side B, which a lot of people didn't know. Like, you just throw out a hitbox and then it disappears. Now it's kind of like a strange boomerang type thing. I don't really get it.
I feel like they should just give her 2 of the boomerang type things, because then
Yeah,
she
that'd
still
be
has this
great.
trap play style, but you could probably like move them around. Like, that could be scary. Like, you're approaching Zelda, you dodge the fireballs, and then she's pulling 2 of them towards herself.
Yeah. I'm kind of excited, though. I mean, the changes to Zelda were interesting and definitely change up that style of play. I mean, I feel like Zelda could be used in a lot of different ways, but it was just so tempting to go for that trap style. And I feel like you can still sort of do that with this, but it's not as... you do have to be a bit more versatile with Zelda, and I think Zelda's got a lot of the tools in the neutral now compared to her melee version. You know, I really enjoy just I really enjoy just going up and hitting people with Zelda. You know, and people don't really expect that. They expect you to do that trap style. I've been playing
Especially
a lot
in
more,
the fair.
Yeah, and as a Sheik man, I've been switching to Zelda a little bit more now, just because. Like,
The Shielda?
the Shielda, I love it. You know, people don't. People still don't expect it. You know, and I think it's a lot more viable now than it ever used to be. Yeah, I like to just hit people with Zelda.
Zelda's combo game is still very strong, especially on Spaceys. Zelda was like a hard counter to Spaceys in 3.02.
You're preaching to the choir right now. So hard. I was at my local, and I'm playing against this Zelda player, and I shout across the room, "Hey, what do you do against Zelda?" And they're like, "What character are you playing?" "Wolf." And they're like, "Just sit there and cry." And I'm like, "Thanks for the help."
It's actually very hard. I played Wolf against Zelda in one of my locals, and I got bodied. I got like 3 stock. I'm like, wait,
it's so tough.
Yeah.
That's why I was glad that they removed the traffic cop play style, because when you do the traffic cop and then you try to, and you're playing Wolf, which you already have a hard time getting in anyway, and you're getting traffic copped, and you have this combo game that you can't do anything about. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, I used to use the trap Din's Flyers, not even to just hit them, but just to make sure that the character went to the place that I wanted them to go, so I could get them out of there. And you can still do that.
Traffic cop.
You can still do that, and to buff it, it actually comes out a little bit faster now. So it's harder to control, but it's easier to get to the place you want it in the time that you want it to. So you can still sort of do that bait and hit sort of play style. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Fun character.
Yep.
And very different from her melee iteration. A lot of the same moves,
Oh, yeah.
but very different in the speed of her play and in her power. I like it a lot.
Yep.
More mobility.
Hashtag use the fair.
Character to play.
Fair is a lot of fun to use.
Yeah.
Fair and Bear were so important in her melee style because that's like all she had,
Mhm.
like throwing out the lightning kicks.
Lightning kicks. Oh my god! I like used to call them like flash sparks because like the tip flashes.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
Anyway, so anyone? Oh, we need to talk about Snake.
Right, Snake.
Up B invincibility removed. Garrett
Fair.
obligated. Obligation change. Like
Definitely fair.
because like
change.
seriously, that's giving him a free shine, and you can do so many stuff. I mean, so much stuff out of his up B.
Yeah, you could sticky out of it. You could aerial out of it. I play a bunch of Snake versus Smash God, and I have this really cool thing where I can up B and then down air and up B and down air, and it's like safe shield pressure because of the ridiculous shield stun both of those moves had. But the nerf on up B definitely, granted.
Yeah.
It's
Makes it a
it's
little
still
bit
a
harder
great
to
move. It's
Be
just
crazy with it. You
Mhm.
gotta
Yeah.
be careful now. You gotta be careful playing that.
Yeah, it's adding thinking to the character, so then you're not
Makes
like
for a better game.
I can just up B, but now you can't. You have to think about can I up B?
Yeah, and based on Professor
Also,
Crow's performance at Beast 5, I
Mhm.
think it's
Yeah.
still definitely a viable character and a lot of
Wiggle,
fun.
wiggle,
Still
wiggle.
a lot of fun to watch.
I
Those Snake
I
dittos
wonder
between,
how he's doing at Flex Zone.
At Flex Zone? Oh,
Yeah,
Hashtag,
I know-
Shout out to Flex Zone. Our own brain
Yeah.
is helping TO.
Nice.
I know Siegel just lost to him in losers, so he has guaranteed 5th in losers. Siegel Joe got 7th. Yeah. But back to the Snake nerfs. C4 also nerfed. Granted, at high percents,
Yeah.
when you had that C4 on you, Snake could kind of just hit you once, and that was it.
It was guaranteed. Like he still has his guaranteed kills. It's just that he has to work for them a bit more.
Yeah, they don't kill as early, so it's definitely good.
And
And
then his spike was changed up. His spike is still fine.
yeah.
Like, you just gotta know, which is why debug mode is again a great tool.
Yeah.
Snake used to get up throw to spike, or maybe it was down throw. No, down throw was the putting you to sleep. Sleep.
Yeah.
So
I think it was up throw
up throw to spike. That was
at
so
like
dumb.
lower percentages. Ugh.
Yeah, mid percents like
Yeah.
against the Lucas or Diddy Kong, you just up throw spike them,
Mhm.
and okay, guess we take that.
I guess that's a thing.
Yeah. But now that spike's a bit harder to land, so you won't see as many up throw spikes. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you want to see some of that 3.5 Snake in action at the highest level, check out some of those Beast 5 bots on the VG Bootcamp Path broadcasts
Definitely.
section because man, really really exciting stuff. Beast 5 was amazing.
Yeah,
Get on-
I
get
still
on
haven't
it,
checked
boys.
out.
You guys both. Come on.
I
you
know,
guys gotta get on it. It's so crazy. It's so
I just saw
crazy.
the one gif of Pro just like bodying that Charizard.
Yeah. I guess we could do that after Paragon.
Yeah.
But I guess that's all the characters we need to really go over.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
all the other ones, the melee characters are by and large, they didn't do a lot to change them. I think this patch really sort of brought all the rest of the cast up to that level where, they could belong in melee, It does have
Did
a
we
very
talk about
melee
Sonic
playstyle.
at all?
Sonic?
What?
We didn't really touch
Oh, yeah,
too much
Sonic.
on Sonic, but yeah, a few.
I mean,
nerfs there, for
he's
sure.
down, which was granted again.
Yeah.
Down B kind of, one of those options that you mentioned earlier that you could just kind of run away to. Just the getaway free card, or
Yep.
get away from jail free card for Sonic. And it's so hard to punish. It was really fast. And now it has a bit more startup. It's a bit slower. So you won't see Sonic abusing it as much.
Yep.
And
Shout out to Wizrobe.
yeah, shout out to
Breaking
Wiz-
the
Wizrobe.
character again.
Breaking
And
the character.
I'm so sorry, Wizrobe. I mean, it's
He keeps breaking
you
it.
keep breaking the character, and you keep
Stop
you keep
breaking
getting the
things,
turn.
busy.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
Yeah,
homing
that's a
attack
talented
also-
guy. That's a talented
okay,
guy.
okay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Real talk, guys. what does Sonic Side B do?
Sonic Side B is like a down B that you can jump cancel.
Oh, I was like,
Yeah.
because I play Sonic occasionally, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with Side B? And I didn't know you could jump cancel it. I guess I know now.
I think I've just been playing Sonic
Yes,
wrong, but I
you
rarely
usually
ever
side
use
B,
B
wave
moves.
dash back.
I do a lot.
I feel like they need to do something different with Side B.
Yeah.
Because you can already do that with his down special, can he?
Well, down special, I think you have to jump twice to come out of it, but and side B you can do it at a one jump. Not entirely sure about that though.
Still, I think they should like do something unique with Side Special. Next update, PMDT.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it's also
We do need to
Sonic.
see what this
You-
what this iteration of Sonic is going to do in the metagame of 3.5. We haven't seen much
Yeah.
of him yet. I mean, like I was talking to you guys earlier about this. The way that Sonic was played before didn't really utilize his speed in a way that I thought was really true to the character, and that's one thing Sakurai was saying in Smash 4 about this. And it's not enough to just have a cast that's balanced. Each character does have to still have their own identity, and some of the characters in this game, each time there's a patch, you see that they get a little bit closer to, this is Sonic. He's supposed to be fast. This is King Dedede. He's supposed to hit hard. All of these, things about these characters. And the way you be creative with them needs to be sort of true to the identity of that character. And I haven't seen much of Sonic yet in 3.5, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen because, how the character's got to be just a little bit slower than him. I don't know how it's going to work out. I feel like that dash dance is going to get a little bit more interesting, a little bit more important in 3.5, and it should, because you should be able to cover a huge range with that dash dance.
I'm gonna go play some Sonic after this now. Got me in the mood.
He's so fast, and hopefully he'll be less of an annoyance now that people can rely less on his amazing down special and more on his fast ground speed.
Right? If you can't rely on these things, maybe it'll be a little bit easier to tell what Sonic is doing. That was the trouble I always had watching Sonic in 3.0 is, what's he doing? All he's doing is spinning around in his little ball. I can't tell what's going on in this game. So
it just feels like he's too much of that special move base. He needs to be more neutral
move
move
I don't
space.
use a lot of B moves with Sonic because I feel like it's either I don't understand them or it's just a little bit too much spinning around. It just doesn't excite me in the way that I think it might. So
yeah, definitely gonna go play some Sonic now.
Well, maybe wait till Paragon's over. There's crazy things happening at Paragon right now.
Yeah, right now, and I can't talk about it. No.
And in that sense, I think maybe we should try and wrap up here. I think we've got a lot
Okay.
of
Right,
content here.
yeah.
And,
Okay. Well, then I guess we got enough.
yeah.
GG. Peace.
This is episode 1.5.
1.5 because
did
we
record a
tried
bit
to
of this
record
earlier.
episode
If you want to see any of the stuff we recorded earlier, we did a little bit of live Q&A. You can check it out on our Twitch VODs. We probably won't update that to YouTube. Probably won't upload that part of it. So it'll just be this. And if you want to see any of the extra comments and extra content, you can head over to twitch.tv/Project Podcast and check out the past broadcasts there.
Yep. Anything
Yeah.
else?
Any shout-outs, any plugs you want to do out there?
Hashtag ClutchCon. Watch it on the weekend of Apex because we're doing Project M and Apex isn't.
That's right. So if you want to see some high-level Project M, big tournament.
There'll be Oklahoma will be there. Colorado represent. We tried to get some AZ people out here, but they're at Apex.
Yep. Use
more-
multi-Twitch.
I think we
Use
have-
multi-Twitch.
I think-
You can watch everything.
Yeah. Multi-Twitch it, please.
I'll be checking it out from my Apex laptop or whatever.
Yeah,
But
we'll be
I'll be
tweeting
at
out-
Apex.
We'll be tweeting out that stream, so follow us on Twitter at Project Podcast 1.
Mm-hmm.
The number 1.
And yeah, numero uno. Oh, I have another shout out. I need to. If any of you guys have any amazing matches of Project M that has zero commentary on it, I would love to commentate it because I feel like we're missing a huge part of the Project M community because we don't have commentary for these matches.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to do that, maybe commentate it yourself. We'd like to hear some commentary out there.
Yeah,
too.
or do it yourself.
Expand the commentary scene. Let's do it.
Yeah. So
And I think this most recent Xanadu, or the hold on, I'll send a link to you later. But one of the Xanadus just had no commentary on it for Project M, and there was actually a bunch of really awesome sets.
Yeah.
Drugged Fox came in and just like wrecked people with Marth, this melee style Marth, just showing people that melee fundamentals, man. They're so
Nice.
important.
Then
And-
I'll totally commentate it.
Yeah, it's youtube.com/umdsmash. There should be some non-commentary to PM vids there.
Okay.
And follow that channel anyway, because they're doing the Xanadu's now.
Yep.
Yeah, they're the ones streaming Monday night Xanadu's because Gimmer is
A pirate.
Because Nintendo. because Apex.
Nintendo.
Hashtag ban Nintendo.
Well, anyway.
Anyway,
Adapt.
peace.
We'll do what we can.
Hashtag adapt. Let's.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at ARG.
Yeah, all our Twitter handles at the bottom of the stream.
Oh, true. Yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot
so
about
we're
that.
good there. We're good there. Next show, next episode, we should have more graphics
wait.
and cool stuff going on too. So
Junebug, I need to pick your brain. Who do
Okay.
you think we should have on the next podcast?
So, like, are you guys trying to get like a certain region rep or like
Everywhere.
PMDT member?
No, we don't. At this point, it just as long as they're recognizable, we'll take them.
yep, or even
A
unrecognizable.
good PMDT.
Yeah.
I've talked to several PMDT members. They're honestly really smart about Smash and fighting games, like Vanguard, Saj, Strong Bad. They all have good fighting game background and Smash background, and they probably could provide some insight on where their their logic behind some of the nerfs and buffs, which might be good. In terms of other regions, I'm not really sure because there's. Oh, like if NJ and Y, there's a bunch of free saltines. Obvious Gallo, Eli, Emu Killer. He's not
Free saltines.
saltine, but you got a bunch of people there. But a lot of people are kind of like falling out of PM these days.
Yeah. So I need to get working on that
It's the
networking.
best contact,
Yep.
but and obviously not a lot of. Yeah, a lot of the streams aren't mainstream as Xanadu, obviously, so they're not getting as much exposure. And hopefully, you guys' podcast can help bring those scenes to light. But yeah, there's plenty
I'd like
of
to talk to a
scenes
few
out
of the
there.
people in that Texas scene. I'd like to talk to people like Seth Long,
Right,
and
Seth
Infinity,
Lon,
guys like that.
Denti, and
Oh, let's try and get Cephalon. I want to get confirmed. Getting
Seth
Cephalon.
I
Lon.
would love to get
Uh,
Infinity on here. I thought he had amazing commentary at Big House 4.
Oh yeah,
And yeah, he's been playing a lot and doing a lot for the PM scene down in Texas. So I'd like to talk to him.
shout out to Attorney Locator, one of the
Shout
few
outs to
people
TM.
actually streaming PM these days.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a great
big
stream.
shout out. Yeah.
So yeah,
So, yep.
I think that's that's about it. I've got everything worked. My microphone was on this time. I've got the backup video. We should be good. So
Sweet.
yeah. Take
Awesome.
it easy, everybody.
Peace.
Peace.